much. Mutu and Alex, thanks for the kind introduction. It's been 2 years since I last spoke at a GeoAwesomeness event. It's really great to be back to be talking about one of the most important subjects to me. This is something I've been passionate about for almost 10 years, and that is talking about map animations and map videos. For what I'm going to do today, though, I'm going to be more of a table setter because we have two other excellent speakers, Magdalena and Jason. And for Jason, he's going to be showing you the what, showing you some really cool animations and motion design that he does. Magdalena is going to be showing us the how. How do you get started on this journey with a really interesting demo about how Map Creator is allowing you to create videos with maps. But I'm really going to be focusing on the why. Why is this important? Why should you invest in getting to know how to do this? Why should this be an important part of your brand or organizational strategy? So about 15 years ago, when I was a young pup, I started my career in communication as a young newspaper reporter in Pennsylvania. And every year I'd be at a conference with other journalists, and there was so much hand-wringing among the newspaper industry about declining attention spans and how audiences weren't really engaging with printed content anymore. The question that always came up in these conferences was inevitably, well, we don't know if people really read past page A1. Mind you, this is 2007, before smartphones really become a thing, so they hadn't seen anything yet. But I always sat in those conference rooms and I said, yeah, is it really just about making content shorter? And that was ultimately the conclusion that a lot of newspapers made, is that we just need to make content shorter. If we do online video, it can't be more than 3 minutes, otherwise nobody's going to watch it. And these were just fact-free assumptions about the nature of content. I mean, and my conclusion always was, once I left newspapers and went into tech and policy, was that really newspapers, nonprofits, humanitarian organizations, think tanks, policy orgs, we have an attention-getting problem. And that really centers around the quality of our storytelling. After I left journalism in 2012, I moved on to policy. I worked in Washington, D.C. for a think tank called the Center for Strategic and International Studies for 8 years. And when I had gotten there, there was a brewing story that our Asia programs really wanted to talk about. They wanted to be able to tell the story and reveal information and data about this strategy that the Chinese government was engaging in, which was to send their navy out to this large body of water south of mainland China called the South China Sea, and to build essentially artificial islands, military outposts to assert control and dominance over the natural resources and the navigation paths of that body of water. And so for decades, think tanks had been in this default mode of, well, we have this big idea, this big set of reports that we want to do, and our default output's going to be this, right? You write a 300 to 400 page book, which is great, and it has its audience, but it really lacked the kind of resonance that a visual show, not tell, a very concise narrative would be able to provide. So we came up with this idea of using satellite imagery and maps to tell this story. And so this is one of my favorite photos. I love showing this photo because it's so Washington. It's so emblematic of how Washington works. But who you see here in this picture is Admiral Harry Harris. He was the commander of the Pacific Command in the US Armed Forces. And of course, Admiral Harris knew and had the access to the visual intelligence, the satellite images taken by government satellites of these island outposts and bases that the Chinese were constructing. The problem is that this was under classification. He couldn't show those publicly. And so what you see here is one of the commercially ordered images that we got through Digital Globe, now Maxar Technologies, to show what was going on here. We knew where these islands and outposts were, so we told these companies, go out there with your commercial satellites, take photos of them. And so Harris is in front of the Senate Foreign Intel Committee here, showing them what was going on. Now, if you had the same kind of thing and he said, well, if you read my report, it just wouldn't have had the same effect as showing this big, bold, beautiful image of how fast this construction was happening and how quickly these military bases were being erected. Basically, these dredgers would go out into the middle of the ocean, dig up the sand, pave over these coral reefs, and then replace them with barracks, missile launchers, airstrips, and helipads. So this had a real big impact. And the difference with policy communication between journalism and mass communication is that we're reaching very particular audiences. We're reaching a quality audience. You know, it doesn't matter so much that we get millions of views, although that certainly helps. What matters is that this information gets to the right people: presidents, parliamentarians, Congress people. And so you can see the outcome of our strategy with using maps and satellite imagery on this story. You can see here on the right side of the screen, A1 story from the New York Times crediting CSIS with being able to release these images. And indeed, a acknowledgement by the Financial Times that the release of these images and the maps that we built around this had an outsized impact about the global conversation around what the Chinese were doing in the South China Sea. But how did we get here? I mean, it's just crazy to me that we had so much precedent and so much history about using maps in a way to communicate ideas effectively. And if you can see, you know, right over my left shoulder here, I have this particular propaganda poster from 1942 framed. It's the first thing I see when I walk into an office. But this is so true. And we've forgotten about this, and especially the policy community has forgotten about this. Maps are weapons, and while we're not using maps to plan our invasion of Europe to retake it from the fascists, we're using maps now to fight disinformation. It's a weapon in the fight against disinformation and people who are not being honest brokers about information and issues. And you can see, even in 1942, we had map videos. People were making map videos in the propaganda reels against the Axis powers. You can see here a brief animation of from the film Why We Fight, showing the expansion of Imperial Japan. And you can see, if you can YouTube it after this event, how much map videos are used to communicate the threat of Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan. And this was in the 1940s. So now we're in 2022. So the whole South China Sea episode really showed us that showing, not telling was important, but also storytelling was equally as important. And we used maps thereon from 2014 to be able to create accompaniments to our written research, to create dashboards and interactive tools to help show the data in a different, more easily accessible way. And map videos did not happen overnight, mind you. We started simple. We started with static images that were taken from Maxar, but then we expanded into interactive variants that you see here on the right. But this was still 2D. We wanted to take it further. We wanted to keep innovating on this. And so the next part was the obvious next dimension, 3D. And if you're working in a place like CSIS, where geopolitics is the name of the game, geography can be extraordinarily important when you're talking about resource security or military strategy, the presence of mountains or rivers, for instance. For our projectionist absolutists out there, globes are the truest way to show the world without distorting it with Mercator. And so just a quick example of how 3D can really add value to your presentation. There's a lot of discussion about, well, what happens if the PRC invades Taiwan? And there's been a lot of wargaming around this question. And this is what you would normally see in Google Maps, just a 2D representation top down. But the overall takeaway when wargaming experts think about what might happen if the PRC invades is that what will likely occur is that the Taiwanese defenders will retreat inland to this large mountain range that inhabits the interior of the island and hold out against any potential occupiers. They might be able to land on this flat area in the west, but the mountainous regions are very defensible in the east. And you can see that there's a very clear difference, and 3D adds a bit of something here. But beyond the 2D and the 3D representations that we built at CSIS, we went further. By 2018, we started saying, this needs another dimension of time. Time and showing change over time is an essential component to good storytelling. And really, this is so new and so nascent, because it wasn't really until recently did we have the right tools and applications and JavaScript libraries to be able to make these kinds of things happen. And so now you're just seeing this wide democratization of these tools. And Magdalena is going to show you a bit of that after I'm done speaking. Ultimately, though, this needs to be your guiding principle when you're thinking about building maps for your organization. Map videos might not be the right thing for you, but you need to focus on what your story is. How do you tell that story? And what are the tools that are best suited to tell that story? This has always been my go-to slogan when I'm working with policy researchers. You have to create stories, not repositories. And for those of you who are not in policy or not in nonprofits, this is a common mistake, because the instinct between the research community is to just cram as much information as humanly possible into one thing. And this is a great example of this mistake. This is a map dashboard from the Energy Information Administration here in the United States, showing you, if you have the time to figure out what the heck this is showing you, the distribution of power generation facilities in the United States. Unfortunately, if you are not one of the 5 or 10 people who are as steeped into this issue about power generation in the US, this is quite opaque indeed and hard to understand what the exact takeaway is. Unless you know exactly what you're looking for. It lacks that mass appeal. It lacks that kind of nice design or UI flourish to really guide the user to understand what the heck is the takeaway here? What do I take away from this? And generally speaking, dashboards, they don't make great maps. And this is why when you see from Jason, he can show you some of the cool stuff he's been working on in terms of how you use video and a guided path to help users and viewers understand what it is you're trying to say and what the point of what your research is. So some final takeaways about this, about map videos and why this is important and why you should really pay attention to our next 2 speakers, is that, you know, this is about storytelling, and this is uniquely well suited to telling great stories. On more technical points, if you're just starting out as an organization or an individual and you're not a coder, these are the kinds of tools and methods that you can use to be able to build these things yourself. All you need is a designer and somebody with some passing familiarity with public databases like OpenStreetMap. And for anybody who works in government or highly secure corporate settings, I love telling this story because it blew me away as a tech person, because I remember back in 2014, I built a website and we were invited to the White House to give a presentation on this website and the findings that it had. And when I was coordinating with the security person, they said, well, are you showing anything? And I said, yes, I'm showing a website. And they said, and they'll always be blown away by this question, well, can you put that website on a CD? And I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because when you're in a SCIF, a secure room in the government, you're not allowed any inbound connections from the outside. So when you're creating a map video and you export it as an MP4, yes, you indeed can put that on a CD and present it well. So I will leave it at that and open the floor to any questions. And